Hi guys, my name's Toby. I am a first year law student at the University of Liverpool, and today I'm just going to chat to you a little bit about the application process for law, for getting into university, my experience of university, and then just some kind of tips as to kind of how to get your voice heard and how to get out there in first year and kind of get ahead. Please excuse the lockdown haircut, by the way. It's pretty disastrous, so yeah, apologies for that in advance. So, in terms of applications, it's probably not a big secret, but law school is really competitive. Certainly up there with kind of medicine as being one of the more competitive courses, and it's kind of expected you'll get good grades at A-level and GCSE. However, there's kind of certain things you can do beyond that to kind of make yourself stand out. So number one, I took a year out after sixth form, and I worked in a coffee shop and bar. Essentially got a bit of work experience and worked my way up to assistant manager. Now, I'm not saying you have to, work up the ladder, but it certainly helps to have a little bit of work experience, just to kind of show you a little bit different to kind of everyone that's just come out of school. And maybe it gives you a bit of an avenue in. Like I said, I kind of had a bit of an experience with kind of some of the disciplinary procedures, and I said I wanted to explore that a little bit further in terms of employment law. So it's a really good avenue in for your personal statement. The other thing I would say when it comes to writing your personal statement, if you're interested in law, download LinkedIn. Essentially, it's like Twitter or Facebook, but for professionals, students, etc. And on there, there'll be loads of lawyers, paralegals, law students, people you can reach out to, and I guarantee someone will be happy to kind of give your personal statement a once over, maybe give you some tips on how to improve it. Like, they're not going to write it for you, but it will definitely help kind of structure it better, make it as appealing as possible to the university recruitment. So yeah, I'd definitely say there's a few avenues to make yourself look a little bit different and kind of stand out. So if you're considering law, one of the biggest things that puts people off, or at least as far as I'm aware, is the work. And obviously it is a demanded degree, certainly more contact time obviously when it's in person and not online than most other degrees. Loads of lectures, a lot of cases to study. The cases are sometimes like 100 pages long, a lot of reading, but don't let that put you off. I'd say it's a really employable degree, and it's definitely worth doing. In fact, most businesses, will be really attracted to that. Doesn't mean you have to go down the whole kind of legal career. In fact, a lot of the work that I've done this year hasn't been the degree itself. It's been kind of preparing for certain law firm events and applications, which takes up like a big chunk of your time if you want to try and apply for some of those big firms. But I'd say if you're considering law, just do it anyway, because it's the same cost as every other degree. It might be slightly more work than some of the degrees, but it's definitely worth it, and you'll come out of uni with a really employable degree, and I doubt you'd struggle to find a job. So yeah. So in terms of kind of getting ahead in first year, making yourself seem a bit more attractive to law firms if that's the career you're going down, or just kind of getting yourself out there, interacting with people, there's a few things you can do, and I'll start with the really easy ones. Number one, as I've mentioned, is just download LinkedIn. It's essentially like Instagram, but for kind of professional advice. People kind of put when they've received a job offer, etc. on there. It's like a very supportive, positive platform, and there's a lot of opportunities on there. There's work experience, there's jobs. People will be kind of like offering you certain things or giving you information, and I definitely say, especially as a law student, it's really essential. There's loads of companies that will post kind of legal information, help you keep up to date on there, but it's essentially obviously a free way of kind of putting yourself out there, marketing your own achievements without being kind of boastful. You can just kind of put everything you've done out there, and getting to know other people, other legal professionals, which might help you 1 to 5 years down the line. The other thing you can do, which you probably already do, is Instagram. I definitely think Instagram's a really good resource because so many law students in particular, but also paralegals, kind of lawyers themselves, have like an Instagram account. So I'd say follow them on there. There's certain platforms like Watson's Daily and Little Law. They post like short snippets of commercial news on there. So it helps you kind of develop your commercial awareness, which is something I'll come back to a little bit later. But essentially, it's a good way to expose yourself to the law, and the actual legal profession as a whole. So I'd say get Instagram, get LinkedIn, and get on there and start working away at those. So the next thing you can do is join some societies. Now it's not, especially this year, it's been a bit different. It's not like you're kind of meeting up at someone's flat or like a certain place at the pub and getting to know the people in person. But the societies, for example, I'm part of the Solicitor Society, the Advocacy Society, and the Bar Society as part of the Uni of Liverpool. They're very supportive. They put on events like every week. There's always something virtual, so like an online event you can attend. Some of them are social, so like people will be making cocktails and stuff in their flats, all connected via Zoom. Some of them are kind of more formal, so law firms will kind of dedicate their time, or one of their individuals will kind of show up and represent them and give you information on either that firm or part of the application process, or just general tips to kind of help you out. So I'd say join the societies, and a lot of them post out, kind of sending out emails with kind of commercial tips, other websites to link to. So it's essentially another way to kind of get involved and delve into the legal profession, and kind of just like get yourself out there as well. Certainly next year I'll be applying to join some of the societies on their committees, and it's a good way to kind of display the fact that you have, you can deal with responsibility and leadership, which again is something that law firms and businesses just generally will look at. Kind of linking into societies a little bit, because they run them, I'd say have a little look at mock trials, mooting, and advocacy. So societies, for example, the Advocacy Society in Liverpool just run a mock trial. So essentially you'll be given some information about a fake or fictitious case, and you'll have to act as a barrister, or you can even just get involved as like a witness or a judge. And essentially via Zoom at the minute, but usually in person, you get to play a certain role. You have to stand up and kind of use your public speaking skills. And it's just a good way to get yourself out there. The Bar Society in Liverpool run something called Mooting, which is essentially like a mock trial, but in a higher court. Again, it's just something where you have to kind of rehearse in advance a bit of a speech, be able to answer questions, but it's like a massive kind of confidence builder. Like I'd kind of joined the first one, really nervous, and by the end didn't quite make it to the final, but felt much more confident. And I got to meet another law student who I've kind of become friends with as part of that as well. So it's a good way to get yourself out there, kind of interact, and when it comes to applications for law firms, to the bar, if you go down that route, it's like a massive thing being able to kind of stand up and speak. As either a barrister or a solicitor, advocacy meaning kind of public speaking. So the next thing I'd say that's worth looking into or getting involved in, particularly in first year, to kind of get yourself out there and develop your own commercial awareness, and again I'll come back to that shortly, is blogging. So essentially like an online blog where you can publish your own articles, etc. I've been very fortunate enough to kind of pass through the application process for a blog called According to a Law Student, and there's lots of like similar blogs kind of across LinkedIn, Instagram. You're kind of like active on social media, and essentially you just publish an article every however many weeks or months about a certain kind of commercial story, and it's a good way to kind of practice not only your writing, but also being able to do a bit of legal research, because you have to kind of get the law right to kind of put something out there on a platform. And it doesn't have to be someone else's blog. You can start your own one. WordPress, they'll let you do it for free, and you can publish your own thoughts about law school, your own experiences, your own thoughts on a certain case or ruling. And again, it's just a good way to kind of get yourself out there. It's something you can pop on LinkedIn and Instagram and say, I've done this, and it's impressive. So one of the things that I think people overlook the importance of is a part-time job. Now, a lot of law students think, they have to get a part-time job in a law firm, which obviously at the minute is incredibly difficult. You can't really go into places. You can't really shadow a lawyer if they're just sat at home on their laptop. But I think just a general part-time job is such an important thing. Obviously, It's a way to kind of interact with people, so you kind of like developing those social skills. It looks good on your CV, whether you're going into law or another career. It's a good way to kind of support yourself financially. Obviously, some people's student loans don't cover everything, and it's just kind of a good way to take your mind off uni. I work part-time at a bike shop, and it's kind of like the perfect stress-free environment to kind of switch off. But anything kind of like working as a waiter, working in a shop, in a supermarket, anything is beneficial. And as I said, in terms of your well-being, there's nothing better than kind of taking your mind out of uni, literally getting out of your flat, your accommodation, wherever you are, and just kind of going out and working. And obviously it helps that you earn some money from it, but just generally it's kind of a good break, and a good way to keep interaction with other people, because it can get a bit obsessive when you're sat at your laptop all day, 10 hours a day, kind of doing lectures, reading, etc. I think it's important to get out and about. So yeah. So I hope that's been helpful. If you need any more advice, if you're considering law school, law as a career, anything like that, and anything that I can help you with, I'm sure Hannah can put my email underneath this or attach my LinkedIn link to my profile. But yeah, I'm absolutely happy to help if you guys need anything else. But good luck and take care of yourself.